Hello everyone out there and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to this channel, I want to tell you welcome as well. And today is Friday, July the 5th, 2024. And today is my birthday. Today is my birthday. So I thank God for blessing me to see another year. And I also want to tell you all, I hope you enjoyed your holiday on yesterday was the 4th of July. And so I want to go right into the message that God gave me on today. And today, the title of my message is Faith Over Fear. Faith over fear. And so this is not going to be a very long message, but this is going to be a message to encourage you to hold on to your faith. Hold on to your faith. Because in these last and evil days, and if you don't know it, the devil is raging all out war against the saints. And see, if you're in a battle, you know what I mean. Because if you're on God's side, then you are in a battle. And if you're not being attacked by the devil, you are not going through anything, then you need to question if you even in God. Because see, the devil, he hates the saints. And so he's raging an all out war against the saints. And see, the Bible tells us in Ephesians 6 and 11 to put on the whole armor of God that you might be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Because, the devil is always lurking. He's always listening. And he's looking for a way to enter into your life to cause destruction. It tells us in St. John 10:10 that the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. And so he's after the saints. He's after you because he wants your faith. He wants your faith. He wants you to lose your faith. And see, a lot of times the way he comes in is through people. So you have to be careful who you let enter into your life. A lot of times people, they come in and they seem like they good or they good for you. And a lot of times, evil is lurking in their mind. They're coming in to destroy you, but they coming in as your help. And so you need to run everybody by God. Whether this person, did you send them or did the devil send them? Because a lot of time he uses people, or either it's through what you see and what you hear. And so we have to be careful what we let in, what we see and hearing, because this can absolutely affect us in a negative way. Because we hearing a lot of negative things, especially if you listening to the news on a regular basis, you listen to the radio, whatever way it's coming through the media. It's a lot of negative things. And what are these things sent to do? When you hear about these things, it's to cause fear. It's causing fear. A lot of people are becoming fearful, and I'm talking about the saints are becoming fearful because of the things that we are hearing. But the Bible tells us that a lot of these things will come, and for us not to be afraid. Not to be afraid, but to have faith in him. Faith in God, that God will help us to overcome. So like I said, the devil cometh, but not to steal. The thief, they calls him the thief, but we know the thief is Satan, or whether you want to call him Satan, Lucifer, the devil. He's coming to steal your joy, your peace of mind, and like I said, your faith in God. So hold on to your faith. Hold on to your faith. Because without faith, what the Bible says, it's impossible to please God. And we know that fear, it doesn't, so that means fear, it doesn't come from God. When you feel fearful about things, it's not of God, it's the devil. And in the Bible it talks about the fear of the Lord, but we know the fear of the Lord is totally opposite. The fear of the Lord means to reverence God, have a holy reverence for God, and to respect him and to honor God. And so it's not the same as having the fear, the fear that we feel that comes from the devil. And so there is a difference, as I said. And see, we cannot defeat the devil in our ability alone, not in our own flesh, but in God's ability, because God has the ability to work through us so that we can be able to defeat the devil, to defeat him. And see, it made me think about David in the book of Samuel. It talks about how David, he came against Goliath. And see, Goliath was a giant. And Goliath was 9 feet tall, over 9 feet tall. But David didn't fear him because he was not coming to the Goliath in his own strength. Because he knew that God was back. God had his back. And so therefore he was not fearful because of what Goliath looked like. And so I want to go to 1 Samuel, and I want to read I want to go to that 17th chapter, and I want to read that 45th through I want to read it to the 47th verse. The 47th verse. It says, "This day will the Lord deliver thee into my hand." He's talking to the Philistine. The Goliath. Goliath was a Philistine. And it says, "This day will the Lord deliver thee unto my hand, and I will smite thee, and take thy head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day into the fowls of the earth, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel." So he was not relying on his own strength. And see, before David came along and see what Goliath had been doing, he was basically tormenting, the armies of Israel, and they were intimidated because of his size. But as I said, David was not, because he knew that God was on his side. And so it says in that 47th verse, it says, "And all assemblies shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord, and he will give you into our hands." And so just as he fought for David, he's going to fight for you. You just have to have that courage to stand and not cower down, when we come against the enemy. When the enemy comes against us, that's what I mean. When the enemy comes against us, that we will stand up to him, that we will stand up to the enemy, because God has our back, as I said. And see, on the other side of fear is victory. And the Bible talks about how God has given us power over all the powers of the enemy. He talks about that in Luke 10:19. And so you have the ability to overcome the devil. And also I want to talk about Gideon, because it talks about Gideon in the book of Judges, the 6th chapter, and how God had called Gideon to a great task. It seemed like it was too much for him. And so God had to encourage him over and over again until finally Gideon took a stand against the Philistines. He wanted him to be their deliverer, because God would raise up judges. The people would sin, and then God would raise up a judge, and then the judge would deliver them out of the enemy's hand. And so now he was calling Gideon for this task. And Gideon didn't think he was worthy to do. He didn't think he was up to the challenge. But eventually, he did overcome the enemy. And that's because he depended on God. He didn't depend on himself. He didn't depend on himself. And also, in the book of Nehemiah, I love the book of Nehemiah, because Nehemiah was also given an assignment from God. And his assignment was to rebuild the wall in Jerusalem. But it was not going to be an easy task. The devil was not going to just let it be a smooth ride for him but he began to be under attack, and the devil came against him, through the enemies. The main ones was Sanballat, Tobias, and Gershom. They lied and they just did everything they could to try to stop them. But what did God do? He came to their aid. And why? Because he continued to pray and work. He prayed and worked and he fought. It talks about how he prayed and he told God to strengthen, because they were trying to weaken their hands. But he prayed to God to strengthen his hands. And that's exactly what God did. And so I want to read a little bit in the book of Nehemiah, because it also talks about how Nehemiah finished the wall in 52 days. But it was not just a smooth ride. Like I said, they came against them in every way to try to stop them from rebuilding the wall in Jerusalem. And so I want to go to Nehemiah. I want to read the 4th chapter. I want to read the 17th through the 23rd verse. And it says, they which builded on the wall, and they that bear the burdens, with those that laid it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held the weapon. And so basically they had to fight and work. For the builders, everyone had his sword girded by his side, so build it. And he that sounded the trumpet was by me. And I said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall, one far from another. In what place thereof ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither, and to us our God shall fight for us. So we labored in the work, and half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning till the stars appeared. Likewise, at the same time said I unto the people, let everyone with his servant lodge within Jerusalem, that in the night they may be on guard to us and labor on the day. And so while some of them slept, the others was on their watch. And so they were watching at all times while they were working. And so neither I nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard which followed me, none of us put off our clothes, saving that everyone put off them for washing. So they weren't even changing their clothes until it was time to wash their clothes. And I'm sure they weren't doing it all at one time, because somebody was always watching until they were able to finish the wall. And so God will strengthen our hands as well as we continue to depend on him and trust him. He will do the same thing for you. That's why God has left us examples in his word. And also in the Bible, in Romans 8:37, it tells us that we are more than conquerors, that we're more than a conqueror. And so I pray that this message, that it strengthens you and that it encourages you to hold on to your faith. Amen. Bye-bye for now.